the one line. So if you think back, say for the last 1 month or 6 months or a year, you can make a list your worst days. There could be 3, 6, 10, whatever. So, but he says, so you look at these days and just how many worst days have you gotten through today? How many of those worst days have you actually gotten through? 100%, right? So if I had in the last 1 year, today if I'm sitting here, I've gotten through 10 worst days in the last 1 year. So that left me with a very, very positive note. I think that's a message that all of us should take with us as we cross hurdles and problems.
I just want to say something. This is full disclosure. I don't know what Babu is going to ask us to talk. So we are not prepared. It's not rehearsed. That's full disclosure. That means we are in a very discomfort zone, both Raji and me. I just want audience to know, even though I know Babu very well, but we didn't even speak. He said, you come, we will see. That's what we are. So we are right now in the discomfort zone and we are trying our best to give you answers. Yeah. We are trying to have fun too.
Absolutely. So thank you, Sydney, for reminding. So some of the thoughts that I had after this, and when you read a book of this nature, after you finish every section or portion, you tend to keep the book down and let your mind wander and think and so on and so forth. And one couple of places where, for me, it was aha moment is that as you grow in life, 20 years, 30 years of, kind of life experience and professional experience, you often tend to come to a point where you think you know it all, right? And here he talks about this concept of a human sponge, somebody who increases capacity to absorb things. And I think today, the way we are structured from a technology space, AI is invading every sphere of our life. If you are not absorbing what is happening and trying to be part of it, we will be extinct from a technological standpoint. So I found that I'll need to spend a lot more time. Maybe I'll need to dedicate maybe half an hour, 45 minutes every day exploring AI far more than I am doing. We're all saying AI, but I realized that I have not really kind of got in and used it and found ways and means to kind of apply it in my daily life. I need to do a lot more. Second is the aspect of feedback versus advice. And this resonated brilliantly with me, right? So he always says, never ask people for feedback because feedback is always back-ended, looks backwards. Ask people for advice. He says, let's say if after this session I asked you for feedback, you would give me 3 things which we could do better, right? But he says, don't ask that question. Reframe your question and ask people, what would be your advice, which is more forward-looking? Therefore, he says, that's a better suggestion that you will have. So the framework of how you're going to ask a question will determine the effectiveness of suggestions that you get. I thought it was quite brilliant in that sense. So, and he says, if you want a great coach, you have to try to be that coach yourself. Like Raji says, if you want a great teacher, you must turn to become a teacher yourself. So I thought that is also something that we all need to kind of imbibe. I particularly need to kind of walk that ground is something that I kind of very strongly kind of struck me. So I thought it's an aha moment for me. I thought I have to take away from this book all these aspects. So this is it, unless Raji and Sydney has anything more to say. Yeah, go ahead, Sydney.
So just speaking on what Raji said and Babu said, teaching, coaching, something which resonated straight away with me was he says somewhere that if you're learning, write it down. Once you write it down, you'll remember better than just, listening to it. And then he talks about, listening to podcasts and actually reading a book. People who have read the book learn a lot more than listening to a podcast. And it's happened to me whenever I want to learn something more, like he said, AI. If I want to learn something new in AI, I write it down. And it stays with me longer than if I didn't write it down. So there are a lot of tips and tricks just to get your own life in a better shape, positively. Nothing negative with this book. So that's one part. The other part is coach. Teach people. As you teach, you learn. I have done that so many times. And when I was much younger, people say, we need to do a training in Hong Kong. I'll be the first one to put the hand. I won't even know the subject. Systems engineering 3. But I put up my hand because one was, of course, get out of India and see the world. But second, most important is, I will learn that forcibly, that subject. If I have to teach, I have to be better than them. And I have to be ready with the labs section. I have to be ready with question, anticipate. That's what I'm doing today also. Babu put us in a spot by calling us here in a positive sense. I read the book and and made notes, in the sense mental notes. But what I'm trying to say is, I read it so much that I should be ready to answer any question. I'm trying to internalize it. So just these are great tips, and it's happened to me. I'm just sharing again what I felt was so close to my heart, what happened to me. And those are very successful moves. I went to Hong Kong. It really helped me. Got 5 out of 5, and then the rest is history. So great book to read. I really encourage all students, teachers to read. Anybody at any walk of life, you will reflect back, oh, this happened to me. This is me he's writing about, or this is my brother or sister or friend. So you will see a lot of connections happening. And coming from an Indian society, many of us are street smart overall. This book is more for people who are not so. But there are so many concepts, like how each one of them said here. You can have tips and tricks and keep them up your sleeve to unleash when you really need to. Just wanted to add that, Babu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sydney. We have come, like I said, we've not tried to cover this book in entirety because we want you to kind of read it and imbibe more of it. And also, 1 hour wouldn't do justice to that, but we have tried to give you a flavor of what this book is from our perspective, our life journeys, and so on and so forth. So from that, we're open to questions. Yeah. Raji, that's your question. You've achieved remarkable milestone in a traditionally male-dominated industry. How did you discover and nurture your hidden talent? Shalini from Kanchipuram. Go ahead.
Nice to hear from you, Shalini. And so again, here I am going to talk about scaffolding. Sometimes your own knowledge, character, or character skills or expertise just not enough to walk great distances. The author himself says, in order to climb steeper hills, you need a lift. And that lift comes in the form of scaffolding. So I started my journey as an entrepreneur 20 years back, but my early years were quite lonely as a woman entrepreneur, simply because my formal education trained me to be for a corporate career, to own a corner office in an multinational corporation. But when I started, I had absolutely no clue about business. I didn't have experience from a bank or a asset management company. And I was in a tier 2 city with just a handful of friends. But even at that point, I have built support systems from multiple sources. So I have a couple of peers in my industry whom I talk to whenever, look forward to advice when I have a problem or on what to do about a regulation. In fact, some time back, I attended a training program where there was a very good trainer. And at the end of it, I was so impressed. I went to him, introduced myself, and requested him to spare a one-on-one session. I spent time with him and benefited so much. We have stayed friends and benefited so much. So here he talks of, 1 minute, he talks of 3, what are the sources that you should trust? And he talks of 3 qualities, which is very, very significant. People who care for you. This could be your friends and immediate family, but it's quite likely they want your well-being, but they may not have the relevant expertise or knowledge. And then the second segment is people with the relevant credibility, with the relevant experience, but they may not know you. And then there is familiarity, people who know you very well. In fact, some time back, I went to one of my mentors with a proposal. He said, this is fantastic, but this will not work for you. And in retrospect, he was right. So I have built this scaffolding systems. And today, to reverse this a little bit, I would be exceedingly happy and find passion in what I do if I am that scaffolding to my clients, right? So I'm the one who cares for their financial well-being. I'm the one whom they can treat. If I can be the one who has the necessary expertise and experience to guide them through their financial decisions. And even finally, build a relationship with them long enough to know what they need. So that is what I'm trying to provide. So to answer your question, several industries are male dominated. In that, I think the kind of support systems that you build apart from your own skills is what help you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Raji. Murli, the next question is for you. You worked across continents and industry. How has this global exposure helped you unlock hidden potential in teams and organizations? From Gautam.
Yeah, Gautam, thanks for your question. How has this global exposure helped you unlock hidden potential in teams and organization? I'm still figuring out the potential which are hidden within me. I hope there is some more in me. But I think the key for me is my upbringing was in different cities in India, different culture, languages. I'm always trying to adjust and adapt, right from a young age. Right, new city, mom will go and say, "Get some 1 kilo of rice." I don't know the language. I'll go figure out where the shop is. So, because of that, I think I developed a lot of empathy. So I'm like, for example, I'm empathizing with all the audience here and folks who are on the online. Empathy is key. I try and understand each one's culture. So I use language as an example to break ice. I use sports as a icebreaker in many occasions. Once you empathize, whether be it your customer or enemy, they will, you'll be able to work with them. That's the key in life. I'm still trying to, explore more hidden potential. But that, again, I would add the character skills, which Adam Grant says, being in the discomfort zone. I'll go to a new customer or a customer who's been given a lot of problem. I am sent to go and face the music. I'll go and I'm already in discomfort. Now I know. I didn't know those days. Because send Murli always, or send Sydney. Now I know they send me because I think I'm comfortable being discomfort. So those are some tips, Gautam. I can go on, but out of time, I'll stop here.
Thank you, Sydney. So what advice would you give someone who feels stuck in their current role and is unsure how to tap into their hidden strengths? Santosh, you must read this book. This is covered exactly in that section. But just to give you a broad insight, take the example of a car, something that's going up a hill, and he hit a point where there's no more road that is visible to him. So the way we do is we pull the car back and look for an alternative route. So that's what the author says. Take a pause, have some fun, do something fun at the side, because don't just be obsessed about the one route to take. Life is very long, and sometimes we don't see the obvious. Sometimes it does take a lot more time. So you need to kind of pull back and take an alternate route, but make sure that you also do something at the side that's fun, that's kind of entertaining, so that you can keep your energies and spirit going. I think that's...
If I may add, Santosh, two things. One is get into the discomfort zone and get used to it, right? If you're stuck somewhere. Secondly, know your strengths. If you know your strengths, as Babu said, you will have a variety of options in life. I'm a Gallup Strength Finder coach. I know my strengths. If you need to know, you can do a test and you know your strength. Focus on your strengths. Get into the discomfort zone, because if you're there, you're going to far outreach anybody else who are doing very well today. So that's what I would say. That is from the book, by the way. And read the book.
Yeah, thank you, Sydney. The book recommends accepting mistakes as a noble managerial quality. How much of it is advisable in a hire and fire environment? Yes, sir, Sydney, you come from that world.
I guess hire and fire situation, you have to be very practical. You have to be human first. Okay. Be conscious of, let's say you're going to fire somebody, be conscious of the situation, how the other person will take it. Say that as simply and as less dramatic as you can, because people don't want drama in such a fire situation. Okay.
I think the context is of that person who's made the mistake.
So if I can add to that.
Yeah.
So what choice do you have? You cannot, if you have genuinely made a mistake, not accepting the mistake is not going to save you in this hire and fire way. But just in case you accept the mistake and you seem as, you are willing to make corrections, your credibility improves, your you're seen as much more someone who's willing to improve and adaptable. So I think that's why the book says that. And I think though it might seem scary, it's a first step that you should take. Accept responsibility if something has gone wrong, and then attempt to correct it. I think it will be valued and respected in any environment.
Yeah, I think acceptance is the key. Once you accept, all emotions are down.
Thank you, Raji and Murli. Can character skills be equated with EQ, emotional quotient, and SQ is social quotient?
Social quotient, right?
Spiritual quotients. Yeah. Okay. So in my understanding, and I'll ask both of them also to give character skills. By what I think it means is we all have talent and cognitive skills and so on and so forth. What I think is character skills is what this Angela Duckworth means: grit. The ability to stay the course is a character skill. The skill of how you put your head down and keep at it till you reach your goalpost is a character skill. And I think that's what I think he refers to. Sydney, you want to add to it?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how it will come on the spiritual quotient. I'm not an expert on that. But character skill itself is a discomfort zone. If you can be there and manage things, nothing like it. I'm not able to answer on the spiritual quotient side. Raji,
Okay, I can try that. I didn't even know there was a term called spiritual quotient. Thanks for that. I thought it was social quotient. So spiritual quotient at some level is, pausing, looking inward, and trying to understand what you are doing or who you're doing. I think that is definitely addressed in the book. So it is a character skill. Anything is a character skill which is not, quantitative and measurable. That's what a character skill means. He specifically talks of being proactive, pro-social, disciplined, and determined. Your emotional quotient covers all this. And he definitely asks you to pause, retrack. I mean, if you're stuck, someone was asking, so find your way back and then move forward. All this can be equated as spiritual quotient.
Thank you, Raji. Thank you, Sydney. So the question is to me, Adam Grant, I think is that Adam great. He's also great, but emphasizes the importance of character over talent. How can mentors help students develop such character? So I'm going to give it in my own context. I have a bunch of mentors, and any difficult situation, I go to them and I ask for help. I ask for support. I kind of narrate the situation that I am in, and then I ask them what they will. My mentors, the way they react is they will never give me the solution. And that is not their job. That's how they have kind of interacted with me. So they will listen to me. They will ask a few more deeper questions for me to go understand the problem even more deeper. It's not for them, it's for me. And then finally, they will ask me, what do you think would be the solutions out of this? So eventually I have found that I am the person stating the problem. I am the person coming out with solutions. And finally, they will tell me that if the journey to the solution is going to be a little hurtful, that is how it will be, right? So the role of a mentor is not to solve your problem. The role of your mentor, that's the way I understand it, is to walk along with you and help you make that journey, give you a certain amount of support through the journey is how some of the mentors that I've been fortunate to associate have been for me. You want to add anything?
Yeah, just one point. They walk with you and they show you directions.
They
But
are the
you have
compass that the book talks of. The book talks of a compass.
Exactly, the book talks about it. You have to walk that particular. You have to walk towards the direction. That's how mentor will leave you at. Raji, you want to add anything?
Nothing. That's good enough.
So they're not going to give you a map. They're going to give you a compass. Like Raji said, it's going to show you a direction, but you have to figure out the specifics on that. Yeah.
There is a section of this in the book, so please read it. And this is again taking you out of the comfort zone into a not comfort zone, discomfort zone. That's what it means.
Raji, I want this question. Humor is one of the hidden potentials. Yeah, please. Can you please suggest ways to exhibit in strict professional environment? P. Bhaskaran, MMA member. Yeah.
I think the doctor's prescription is laughter is the best medicine. So whatever environment you are in, if there is a problem you cannot solve, just take a step back and laugh at it. So I think that's very important. In fact, Adam also advocates this in terms of having a side gig, making it, a source of joy rather than that. So what are the ways? There was a section, I don't know how many of you have read this erstwhile magazine called Reader's Digest. So it used to have a section called All in a Day's Work, which focuses on humor at work. So how effective that would be. So you have to find a reason to laugh in your work. That's what is going to help you work longer.
Yeah, I just had a couple of points. Smile, first thing in a work professional meeting. When you smile, people tend to smile back. And break the ice saying, how was yesterday? How was last weekend? Or if there was any event, how did it go? Did you see Thug Life? I'm just giving an example. People are laughing.
Talking of reasons to laugh.
Yeah. So once you bring in some generic topics, people relax. Once you relax, then you can go back to your professional topic. So always be aware of we are all human beings first, right? Then you go into bring in some human topics, like I said, movies or sports or somebody's birthday or an anniversary or wedding. Then you get into work. That's one way of bringing in humor, and people get comfortable in something which is not work related. Then you get into work, and humor just builds onto it.
In fact, me and Sydney were at a meeting last evening at this time where we were, spoken to by Pulavar Ramalingam, who's a very humorous speaker, and he gave his entire evening, 1 hour was on humor, and humor can be a beautiful vehicle to convey a very important message. That's what my takeaway was. And it can do it so beautifully so that you take the essence of it, everybody feels nice about it. So humor, when used well, can be a very, very powerful tool. And it can be used in all settings. At the end of the day, whether it's personal or professional, we are dealing between one human being to another. And there is always a role that you can use humor for. Clean humor, when used well, can convey a message beautifully. That's my answer. If talent isn't everything, what quality do you think matters most for doing well in school, college, office / life? Sydney?
Yeah, I think talent is required. Some talent is required. If we don't have character skills, I mean, Adam does it beautifully. He talks about character skills. He talks about scaffolding. He's talking about coaching and training. He talks about putting some best practices, be it in school, in college, or at work. I think the key is be aware where you are, what you know, and most importantly, what you don't know. What you don't know is what you need to work for. And be realistic. The Golden 13 is a great example. There's a chapter on it. They didn't know anything. They were just 13 black guys who were, told you were joining Navy, you are going to undergo this training. And the training times were shortened compared to others. Perseverance. So, for this person who was asked this question, book is an ideal way for you to start. Okay. What quality? Reading this book is a good quality to start with. Okay. I'm telling you, you don't have to be the topper. That's what he's saying. You don't have to be the first rank holder in the class. People below second, third, whatever, they are doing much better than the first rank in most cases. He's giving you living proofs for it. So read the book.
Raji, you own many hats, planner, entrepreneur, speaker. How do you reinvent yourself to grow beyond your comfort zones and find new possibilities?
Yeah. So before finding new possibilities, I think I should do justice to all the roles that you've already mentioned in your question. So as I said, I always also thrive on finding new things to do, even whether within my work or out of the framework of my work. Even in the previous question, there was this one quality, right? I think that one quality, apart from the character skills that he mentions, is willingness to learn. So I think that is very, very important. I've always believed in it. Learning is a lifelong quality. So that's what I plan to do for the next 20, 30, 40 years. So I am going to be open to learning. So that is, so whatever it might be, I very recently started playing bridge, if as if there wasn't enough in my life. So like that, willingness to learn is something that has always helped me, and I'm hoping that will keep me going.
Absolutely. Thank you, Raji. Are we done with the questions? Okay. Any audience question here?
I think that's also.
Oh, those are all okay. Mr. Murli, you worked across. This has already happened. From your experience in cutting edge tech like AI and cloud, how do you spot and nurture hidden talent? The word hidden keeps to be coming everywhere. So hidden talent within highly technical team.
Yeah, so we need to spot that hidden, whatever the talent is, whether they are in AI or agentic AI, or do they know how to write the prompt, whatever what cloud it is, IaaS, PaaS. What I have a fundamental belief. There are two things people have: skills and attitude. Okay, skills can be acquired. We can learn any skill. I can learn Japanese tomorrow. But if I don't have the attitude to learn Japanese, or if I learn, I don't want to use, it's of no use. So one thing we look for, or I look for, is attitude. Is there a fire or hunger in this candidate? Positive hunger, positive fire. Then if they know only part of it, others can be learned. So that's one of the fundamental thing I generally look for when we hire or when we look for talent. And some of them are, so I have many ways of asking them, because I speak quite a few languages. If it's a Malayali, I'll switch to Malayalam. They will naturally open up more. Then sometimes they're not comfortable with English, especially technical folks, right? Works to my advantage. Go back to my language. I'll extract, then you can figure out, where they are. So that's something I use. I just trying to answer that question. Technically, I know so much. If I need more, then I ask somebody else in my team to evaluate them technically. But the key is attitude, not skills.
Yeah, and just to add to what Sydney said, is that the author talks about the whole concept of interview, right? So as compared to it being an interrogation, which sometimes it tends to be, he says, can we have a more inviting environment where we make the person at home, we ask him what he wants to talk about, rather than we try. Many a times interview tends to be that I'm trying to expose your ignorance. Rather than that, can we have interviews that go deeper to understand the passion of the person and how he can use that passion to contribute to the organization? So that was beautifully said. I think that is also one more takeaway for me personally, that the whole interview process that we undergo is really, the person tries to defend his stance. We are trying to find out the chinks in his armor. So it's always he versus we, whereas it needs to be he plus we, and how we engage with them kind of with the passion. That's
just a couple of tips there. When I interview, I'm not even interviewing the candidate, but some candidates waiting, and going past the candidate, I'll ask you, who are you? What are you here for? Can I get you a coffee or tea? Most of the time they're saying no. But I want the candidate to feel comfortable. They may not get the job, or we may not hire them, but they go and tell good things about this company, right? So it's important to treat them like a VIP until they come in. After that, it's different. So this is also very nicely said in the book by Adam, in terms of don't look for putting the candidate in the spot and find for weakness. Look at the positive side of things. Look at their experiences. Why they did A instead of B? Learn from it. Then based on that, will they help you in your organization? Positive way of looking in interview than a negative way. Thank you, Babu.
Thank you. I think
last thought, just for 1 minute. So there is another concept called, propagated by the same author, not in this book, confident humility. We have always associated competence and confidence, but he says it's a dangerous spot where when you're brimming with confidence is the time when, maybe the competence is lacking. So he talks of a sweet spot called confident humility, where you have the confidence in yourself to achieve several great things, but you also know what are the tools required, what you're lacking, and you're humble enough to acquire those tools. So if you're able to find that sweet spot of confident humility, that's when you're destined for great things. Thank you, everyone, and the best of luck to everyone who's spurred the time and watched this. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a line I was supposed to say, Raji.